It's summer in New Zealand, so the days are getting warmer and longer, which means it's the perfect time of year for ice cream. Now, typically ice cream has sweet flavors, right? Like strawberry, vanilla, chocolate, coffee. You're not going to think of savory flavors like sour cream and chives or salt and vinegar. But back in the 1700s, when ice cream was a new thing, they put almost any flavor they could think of into ice cream, including Parmesan cheese. And as this is a channel all about the history of cheese, I thought today I would have a go at making Parmesan cheese ice cream. So let's find out if Parmesan ice cream is a flavor that deserves to come back. Hey there, cheese historians, I'm Julia and welcome to Cheese History, a channel where we normally talk about the history of cheese and all of its weird and wonderfulness. But today we're going to make Parmesan ice cream, because it's an ice cream I've always wanted to make because it's ice cream with cheese in it. The recipe I'm going to use is from Max Miller's Tasting History Cookbook, because he's already gone to the trouble of taking a recipe from the 1700s and turning it into modern day recipe instructions. So I figured, why reinvent the wheel?
This is the original recipe. It's from Frederick Nutt's The Complete Confectioner from 1789. It's a pretty straightforward recipe. It says, take 6 eggs, half a pint of syrup and a pint of cream, put them into a stew pan and boil them until it begins to thicken. Then rasp 3 ounces of Parmesan cheese, mix and pass them through a sieve, and freeze it. So with the help of Max's great guidelines for this recipe, that's basically what I'm going to do. So I'm going to start by gathering my ingredients. I needed eggs, cream, simple syrup, and of course Parmesan cheese. Then it was time to start making the ice cream. I started by putting the eggs into a pot and whisking them together until they were smooth. Then I added the cream and the simple syrup and whisked everything together. The next step was to heat this custard mixture until it reached the right temperature and consistency. Once that was done, I took it off the heat and added the Parmesan cheese and whisked it until it was smooth. I poured the finished mixture into a bowl and let it cool before covering it in plastic wrap and putting it in the freezer, because I don't have an ice cream maker, so I was going to do this the hard way. And by the hard way, I mean I was going to take it out of the freezer every hour or so and stir it. It had the added benefit that I could watch it get slowly firmer as time went on. Eventually, of course, I got bored of this, so I ended up just leaving it overnight in the freezer to firm up.
And here we are, Parmesan ice cream. Now, it doesn't look like normal scoops of ice cream because it was quite solid after about a day in the freezer, so I couldn't really scoop it out of the dish. It ended up being more like scraping it off the top, so it did turn out to be a lot more solid than I expected it to be. But it's still ice cream, so we're going to need a spoon. Here we go. Flakes of Parmesan ice cream. It's not as sweet as I thought it would be. It has that creamy texture of ice cream, and it tastes like Parmesan, which, considering Parmesan can be quite a savory flavor, it's quite surprising that it goes as well with the ice cream texture as it does. It's a strange sort of blend of sweet and savory. It's definitely sweet, but it also has those umami, savory flavors of Parmesan, and they actually go together pretty well. It's creamy like you'd expect from ice cream, and all in all, it's actually not that bad, despite the fact that it's almost frozen solid at this point, rather than the slightly soft frozen of ice cream. It's not going to become my favorite ice cream flavor this summer, that's for sure, but it's not as bad as I thought it could be, because effectively it is mixing a savory cheese with ice cream, which could turn out terribly, to be honest. But I think actually it's turned out pretty well. So if you're after a sort of novelty ice cream, something a bit different, or if you just want to try something that's an unusual mix of savory and sweet, then give Parmesan ice cream a go. If you haven't seen the Tasting History episode on Parmesan, then do head over there. I'll put a link up there and in the description below to that video so you can check that out as well. It's totally worth the watch. That's it for this time, cheese historians, so I'll see you next time for more cheese history.